Welcome to my 2025 year in review! What? We're only a quarter of the way through 2025? Oh, that's a minor detail. I play a lot of games and I can't record a video at the end of the year with all the games I've played in said year. That's not your concern? Oh, my channel's very dead and no one cares about my opinion. Forget about it. That's no problem at all. My last video was only a couple of months ago, see? It's just unlisted. Silly viewer, you should simply just watch the videos you can't see or access at all. All jokes aside, I've had ideas for videos in the past, but none have come to fruition. I mean, I even wrote a whole year in review for 2023, but I never finished recording it, which is why, for this year, I'm recording it into smaller segments, and hopefully, we can stick with it. A bit of housekeeping before we start. Firstly, this list will be about games I have played for the first time this year. This means we won't be going into detail on games I play on the regular. Secondly, we are going to make an ordered tier list of every game so that we can add to it as the year goes on. The tier list will go as follows. Peak, which is S tier. Incredible, which is A tier. Good, which is B tier. Okay, which is C tier. Which is D tier. And dogshit awful in E tier. Games will be presented in order as to when I played them, unless it makes more sense to present them another way. I'm Samsungintheshower, and I'll be your host for tonight. So, without further ado, let's get going! For me, it's hard to talk about Freedom Planet 1 and 2 separately. Both are phenomenal games, but in different ways. While I respect and enjoy the harder and slower paced levels of the first game, I vastly enjoyed the faster paced levels of the second game, thanks to the creative themes and unique gimmicks that enhance the gameplay that much more. I also love the new direction they took with the art style in the second game. The environments look so much nicer, and everything just looks so much more flashy. It's a treat for the eyes to behold. That isn't saying the first game looks bad, but I think they did a better job with the second game. That isn't to say they did a better job in every regard. The first game has a much darker tone with its story, and I enjoyed that much more than the second game. Having the opening cutscene start with a warlord alien invading a kingdom and killing the king in front of the young prince is something I was not expecting, but in a good way. It's not the deepest story, but the moment-to-moment plot beats left me entertained and eager to press on. Unlike the second game, where the story is less interesting, and it never has the same impact as the first game. That isn't to say that the story is bad, but I definitely enjoyed the simpler yet more exciting plot of the first. One thing both games have in common is their fantastic soundtrack, each song fitting very well with the levels they played in, whether it's the energetic boss themes or the atmospheric level themes. Each of one of them is a delight. Lastly, I want to discuss on how playable characters are done in both games. The first game is a lot shorter than the second game, making it easier to replay the first game with each of the 3 playable characters in separate playthroughs. It doesn't feel as tedious. While the second game is still fun to replay, it requires a lot of effort on repeat playthroughs thanks to the side content available and necessary for the true ending. It isn't a deal breaker, and I still have fun, but I wish I could swap between the characters on the fly in the second game. Overall, both Freedom Planet games are incredible experiences, with fun and rewarding gameplay, as well as a fresh soundtrack and beautiful visuals. I honestly can't decide which one's the better package. That's why they both get the A tier. I can't believe I'm talking about this game. I played it with a friend on a live stream and That was a good time. The game was good ironically, but like, this game is ass. It's so bad. It controls awfully, the courses are painfully uncreative. I mean, we all know this, but like underneath everything, I didn't hate it. It's not good, no way in hell is it good, but in a group of friends, it was actually a fun time. It was fun experiencing how broken the game was and complaining about the game, and I genuinely wouldn't mind doing it again sometime. It was the kind of bad where we can all point and laugh at it, kind of like Sonic 06, and so for that, I give it the D tier. As a gamer, I pride myself on the many genres of games I play, and I like to say I enjoy every single genre, and for the most part that is true. However, shooters are by far the genre I've enjoyed the least. Again, it's not that I don't enjoy the genre, but so much of the genre is filled with games that play the exact same way. I always like to give every genre a chance though, which is why when I saw Stronova, a unique take on the shooter genre, I thought, let's give it a try. It's free after all. And after doing so, what do I think? It's fun, but it suffers from the same issues as most shooters, that being the same way the game plays. To give the game credit, its unique mechanics of turning into paper is interesting, and more importantly, it's fun to use. But like, it's just the same couple of modes you see in every shooter game, which are entertaining but repetitive. I will fully admit that this might be an issue rather than an issue. I might not just understand the genre enough to get the appeal, as the only shooter I've fallen for is the Splatoon series. I also want to make it clear that I had fun with this game, like I do with most shooters, but it never hooked me like other games have. I think a game like this is very much deserving of the B tier. The first game I've played that came out this year, and it's a remaster of an old game. Well, regardless, Tales of Graces is a fantastic entry of the Tales of series, and it's deserving of this remaster. As someone who didn't play the original, I found myself really enjoying this game. Not sure what that has to do with playing the original, but I had to mention it somewhere. Tales of Graces features an incredible cast of characters, whereas most RPGs struggle with their casts, whether it's because they have unlikable characters or even a lack of synergy between cast members. Tales of Graces has a fantastic cast. All the characters are likable in their own way, whether it's because of their goofy antics or from the struggles they've had to face. Furthermore, each character has synergy with each other, being able to bounce off each other well. It makes for a believable group of travelers, which is not something that can be said about all RPGs, and something I value about this game. Despite its amazing cast, the story is painfully average. The first act is long, but honestly it works well for the character building and leads into the strong Act 2. Intro. Yeah, as much as I love the intro, this game's story falls off really hard, becoming nothing more but emphasizing for the main villain and a power friendship type ordeal. Although the Act 1 ending that leads into that intro is incredible and has each of the characters split off following their own path, only to lead into each other into that Act 2, hating the protagonist Asbel for abandoning them and becoming a knight. It's so good. It's just incredible, and the lengths Asbel has to go to prove himself worthy of their friendship again, it's just, that is, until you get about halfway, and it becomes more of a destroy the big bad guy. That big bad guy being Lambda has more going on for him than just being a big bad guy, but I can't say I'm a fan of how his arc turns out in the latter half. You might have realized I didn't mention Act 3. That's because it's pointless. So much so that I've forgotten most of it. It's nice to see all the characters return to a sense of normalcy, but other than that, yeah, it's pretty pointless. Of course, this game is a game that features gameplay. Who fucking wrote this shit? Oh my... I'm gonna... Sorry. The story being a slight letdown didn't bring down the gameplay, which is enjoyable. On top of that, each character has their own gameplay style, which left the otherwise repetitive battles feeling fresh and exciting. It's also great that I had a fun time controlling most of the characters, unlike other Tales games where I would only control like 1 or 2 of the characters. It's always fun seeing how high you can get that combo meter going with the limited resources, which is something all Tales games feature, and it's one of the reasons why I love the series so much. Lastly, I want to mention the solo presentation. Everything looks nice. Nothing breathtaking, but it's nice. And the soundtrack follows the sentiment with a solid showing. Overall, as a whole, this is a great game. It has its letdowns, sure, but I wouldn't say anything is actively bad. At worst, it's just okay. And at best, it's one of my favourite casts in gaming and a fun combat system to push to its limits, and for that, it gets an A tier. Refined Self is more of an experience than a game. I didn't tackle it like a game. I put myself into the world and got immersed. You see, every action you take increases the heart gauge, and once full, your personality is reflected in a short boss fight and the results screen. You know those games for Impact at the Game Awards that no one understands? Yeah, this is something like that. Whereas normally you play a game to have fun, I played this game to learn more about myself. You mainly just walk around and explore, doing whatever you please, whether that's figuring out the mysteries of the world, comforting the people around you, or just taking everything in. The atmosphere of this game is heavy, with the game starting with you standing over the grave of your creator. It shows off the tone of the game and sets the mood you will be feeling as you play. Honestly, writing this part of the video has been the hardest. I'm struggling to find the words to describe how I feel about this game. It's less about the enjoyment of the game and more about how you play the game and choose to experience it. For some, it might be a snooze fest, but for me, it was an experience well worth the time, making me think about the time I have in this world and how I can impact the people around me. Do I sit and wallow in my sorrow? Or do I spend time focusing on my future and ignoring my own well-being? Or do I simply just try to live in the moment and be thankful for the people and moments that happen around me? I don't want to rate this game. It isn't a game designed to be rated, but in my opinion, if I have to give it something, it's the B tier. I feel like that's the most fitting. If you know me, you'll know that Room Factory has become one of my favorite series in recent times. A mix of farming and RPG that blends in both aspects so fluidly has made me fall in love with each entry I played. Neither aspect feels skimped out on either. Both the farming and RPG aspects feel just as important and flow into each other so perfectly. Sure, the game's stories might be lacking, but with how much fun I have, I don't really care that much. The characters of each Room Factory game are just incredible, and the music, oh god, the music! It's somehow both got relaxing tracks to chill and study to, as well as hype fucking music that gets me invigorated every time I listen to it. So as you can tell from my small rant there, I love the Room Factory series. So when I saw there was going to be a Picross game, a puzzle game that I also love, based on Room Factory, I had to buy it day one. And what are the results? This game is bad. Like, in all aspects, this game is bad. There is no marking making more complex puzzles that much harder. The game looks bad. The game is laggy. The game that is 100% menuing is laggy. How? Like, so much of this game is bad. Objectively, this is a bad game. And yet I spent 20 hours on this game. Look, despite how bad this game is, at the end of the day, it's Picross, a game that can be played with a pen and paper and with Room Factory music. It's hard to make that unfun. So, if I was being objective, yeah, this should get an E tier, but subjectively, it's getting like a B tier. I don't care.
Dusk Diver 2混乱霊道
Hi, Editing Shower Man here. My footage got corrupted and it's not recording properly, so I'm just gonna use Mr. Kyle Touchy's footage for Dust Diver 2, their 90-minute long play of Dust Diver 2 on the Switch version. I actually played the PC version for this one, but their footage is for Switch, so there's gonna be maybe a few discrepancies, but either way, this is the best I could do. I'm sorry, Kakashi, for stealing it without asking, but I hope this little bit of credit is enough. And thank you. I really haven't played many games from this year. That most likely will change with the Switch 2, but for now, Dust Diver 2, which came out in 2022. I only became interested in it because of the crossover it had with Gunvolt. If it's crossing over with my goat, it has to be good, right? Well, kind of. I will say, compared to the original, this game is an upgrade in every way. Better story, gameplay, visuals, and even music. Battles are quick yet fun and rewarding with a lot of variety thanks to the multiple playable characters and a lot of depth to keep you wanting more. I will say that it is very easy to overlevel in this game. However, if you've played it like me and upgraded only your offensive stats, the game will be challenging enough to keep you engaged. The gameplay isn't perfect, however. Even with multiple playable characters, the combat can get repetitive at times, but it was never enough to deter me from the game. That might be thanks to the setting of this game. Dusk Diver 2 takes place in Taiwan, and as far as I could tell, it does an excellent job of representing the culture and environments of said place. I'm gonna feel like a Persona fan going to Japan for the first time if I go to Taiwan. That's how well they've emulated everything here. The game has some good looking environments and set pieces that encapsulate Taiwan as well as the fantasy aspects of the world. Despite how good the environments are, the character models could have probably done with a bit more time, especially in the cutscenes. It could be the most serious scene. The voice acting could be delivering how the character is in anguish, and the model will just have the same goofy expression that it always has. Whether that's a problem with the model itself or cutscenes is beyond me, but it is very noticeable and jarring. As for the story itself, it's fine. Nothing special, but nothing offensive. It drags a bit at the start, but there's a lot of foreign concepts introduced, and it's done a lot better than the info dump they give you at the end of the first game. I don't have many strong opinions on the story, so now we will briefly talk about the music, which is good. Unfortunately, it does have repetitive tracks, however none as bad as the first game's battle theme. Mind you, that theme shows up here, but it's remixed and used a lot less. Thank God. I will say the whole soundtrack is good though, even the repetitive tracks. The highlight being Queenie. Do not Google it without putting Dust Diver in the search though, I learned that one the hard way. It's a fantastic vocal track that never fails to get me pumped up. I could probably do anything with this track playing. It is that powerful. It's so powerful it alone gets the game an A tier! Okay, maybe not alone. This game might not be the best game I've played, but I value it a lot, thanks to the representation of Taiwanese culture as well as just being simply fun. It's the reason it gets an A tier, but the music helps a lot. Ah yes, the game that got the video delayed because there is no way I'm beating a 60-hour RPG in just over a week. Xenoblade Chronicles is one of my favorite series. The original is what got me so passionate about games as a whole, and Xenoblade 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. I later played Xenoblade X for completion's sake and had a good time, after multiple failed attempts at getting through the game. So, how does Definitive Edition stand up against the original? Did I have a good time? And were my problems with the original fixed? Find out next time on Samsungintheshower's Year Review Part 2! Just kidding! I didn't delay the video to give a cliffhanger. Long story short, the answer is yes. To go into detail, the two biggest problems I had with the original game were the early game was quite boring and the cliffhanger ending they did nothing with for like 10 years. Thanks to the new quick cooldown system, the early game is much more enjoyable. You're not waiting around for arts as much, so the combat is much quicker, which is where the 8 art palette system flourishes. Also, they have completely removed blade levels, meaning there are fewer restrictions to exploration as soon as the world is unlocked to you. Everything else gameplay wise is left mostly intact, which is great because the gameplay of the original was already amazing. The other problem, that being the cliffhanger ending, was also resolved, adding an additional 3 parts to the story. I have mixed feelings on the story, but overall I think it's a good addition. Firstly, they changed voice actors for Van Damme, which is fine, but man oh man is it jarring.
I saw the whole thing, including where you picked a fight that was about to get your teeth kicked in.
Heads up! We just received an urgent request from Granada GG. It's direct from their chief engineer.
And I never got used to it. The character doesn't even have the same tone anymore. I normally don't mind new voice actors coming in if they fit the character, but this one just doesn't. Secondly, the first act is fine, but the second act is like really bad. Like, I get what they're trying to do, making us care about the world and show the people's struggles, but it plays and feels like Genshin Story. You don't ever want to play like Genshin Story, because all Genshin Story requires is fast traveling to the story point, watching the story, maybe fighting a battle, and repeating until it's all over. That's what happens in Act 2, and it's boring. Thankfully, Act 3 comes in and it is incredible. A new area to explore with new music and tyrants to fight, and the story all comes together and makes sense of the cliffhanger ending. Although in saying that, it's a different direction than what was originally planned. At least that's how it feels to me. Still, I enjoyed the new story edition regardless. Lastly, I want to talk about the updated visuals, because while I think they look great, I prefer the original style. I think the more serious tone of the story and the fight for survival are reflected better in the original style. That isn't to say the remaster looks bad, far from it. I think it does look better. However, I think the tone is lost in the transition to this new story. It is by no means a deal breaker, and I recommend this version thanks to the quality of life features, extra gameplay options, better UI, and new story and gameplay additions. Each aspect of the game is improved from the original, apart from the music, but that shit was already peak! They made an already peak game even better, so it gets an S tier. Yeah, it has problems, but it's just that much fun. Hey dude, get exposed for the next episode. Come on, it's time to wrap up this segment of the Year in Review, dude. You're absolutely right. Me sounded pretty. See you all next time as we talk about this game and more. With the Nintendo Switch 2 around the corner, it's bound to be an exciting episode of Samsungintheshower's Year in Review. Tune in next time and don't forget to like and subscribe. That's the YouTuber thing to do, right? Of course, dude.
信じるのは愚かきば